Oh, you want to talk about it? Well then, don't tease. Don't just dance around it. Let's really dive all the way into it and discuss the full context then.
I just want you to answer this one question. Do you understand that as a white man, you do not have to apologize for being white? You just have to acknowledge the racism that happens around you. That is all.
What racism happens around me?
Let's say that a racist police officer shoots me, right, and kills me, right? For you to be a white man and you see that and don't say anything about it, I believe that my community would be upset about that. Now, all you have to do as a white man, you don't have to get on the internet or on Twitter and say, I'm sorry for being white, but you should at least acknowledge the racism that happens around you.
Okay, well, yeah, if an individual act of racism happens...
That is just taking accountability for what happens around you.
Hold on a second. First of all, I don't have to be accountability for a whole race, do I? Why do I have to be accountable for the white race?
For yourself.
Right, so if I'm racist, I'll take responsibility for that.
You probably are not racist, but...
Well, thank you. So then why do I have to comment on somebody else's racism?
But what you should do is take accountability for the racism around you. Not pretend that it doesn't happen around you. Like, again, the example that I gave you, that if I was shot by a police officer and you found out that person was racist, right? Now...
But why would you say take responsibility? How can I take responsibility for somebody else's actions?
What you should do is just take accountability and say, hey, yes, that was racist, instead of saying, no, that officer wasn't racist.
Well, hold on. You got to show me an instance, an example, but we're talking about such a micro problem that doesn't exist. Do you know that a black person is 18.5 times more likely to shoot and kill a police officer than a police officer is to go and shoot an unarmed black man?
But is that the question that I asked you?
No, you asked a hypothetical about if I'm going to take accountability for a racist police officer. But do you understand, if I inverted it on you, would you take accountability for all the blacks killing police in America?
Or each other?
No, would you? Why don't you take accountability for all the blacks killing police in New York?
I wouldn't take accountability for it, but what I would say is, yes, there are a lot of black people in my community who do dumb things to other black people and to other white people. What I would not do is just pretend that it doesn't happen, so that, like I said, you as a white man has to do the same thing.
I acknowledge it happens. I also acknowledge it's rarer than lightning striking you when you're outside.
That's it.
But let me ask you, who is Tony Timpa?
That's all I wanted you to do. Thank you.
I acknowledge it's rare, and I'm not going to have to take responsibility for an entire race at all. It's wrong and it's terrible. I wish we could have continued the conversation. Hello, how are you?
Hold on. How about hypothetical, if a black or white or Hispanic person puts themselves in a position to be arrested or a confrontation with a police officer, why don't they take a step back and ask themselves, okay, why am I here? What act did I illicitly get involved in and pursue to even be in this situation in the first place? Don't you just love how he walked away when he's not getting his way? That's what these leftists do. That's what these students do. They're not there to learn. They're not there to engage in civil discourse and hear another idea, maybe take in some knowledge or wisdom that you hadn't been presented with, like Charlie Kirk always brings to the table. I love that man. I love the common sense and wisdom that he provides. And you ever notice how inconsistent people like this are? They never have this same energy when it's heinous acts or murders and deaths done by their own people. When it's people that look like them, their fellow brothers and sisters, killing other black people or other Hispanic people that look just like you, killing each other every single day for no good reason at all, for drugs and alcohol and just to represent your hood and to, your territory that isn't really your territory at all, because all of this is God's land. All of this is created by the Almighty, and we're blessed to be able to have it. But I digress. These people are killing people every single day that look just like them in Chicago and Detroit and Memphis and the Bronx, South Central LA, all over the United States. But yet lives only matter when it's regarding a white person, a white police officer, and on a black person, to perpetuate this whole race hustling idea that just keeps dividing us even further. We all got a little something of everything in us. We all come from the same two ancestors, started with Adam, then came Eve, scattered across the entire planet. So we all bleed red. Why should you take responsibility for your whiteness or your blackness or apologize for actions that other people commit. I'm not responsible for slavery back in the day. We all have experienced some sort of situation where we deem it as inappropriate or whatever it may be, but that doesn't mean the other person is a racist. That doesn't mean it has to be an overwhelming racism issue. You created a hypothetical, made up fictional story because the scenarios and occasions where that actually occurs is so minute, so rare, like Charlie Kirk touched on, that you have to make these things up. You have to act as a victim and carry yourself in that way all throughout your life. I feel bad for people like this, grouping individuals based on race, then demanding somehow that everybody accept accountability for the entire group's actions. That's the real racism, when you just look at people based on their skin tone and pigmentation instead of, like MLK Jr. said, focusing on the content of their character, what they bring to the table as an individual, as a human being. Stop going through life painting yourself as this woke victim instead of looking at every situation that God places in front of you as, not as a victimhood situation, but as an opportunity to overcome and be victorious. No matter what cards you've been dealt, it doesn't matter. How about we all unite? How about we all represent one community, the United States of America, home of the free because of the brave, the people that have sacrificed their luxuries and all their conveniences to make sure that we're able to be taken care of, to make sure that we have the freedom of speech and the freedom to go out and achieve whatever it is that you want. Nobody's holding you down. Nobody's out to get you. We need to love our neighbors as ourselves. That means you need to look in the mirror and you need to love yourself first. You need to look to God and you need to stop relying on your own path and your own dictations and thinking that you got the best plan. And when something doesn't go your way, somebody's out to get you. No. Maybe it wasn't a racially motivated error. Maybe it was just an actual on the job wrong decision. The choice to use a firearm instead of a taser, or applying control holds too long, or, just like there's incompetent doctors and nurses and accountants and so on and so forth. Every field in society, there's people that, they make the wrong choice. They weren't feeling it that day. They might have something going on behind closed doors in their personal lives that affected their performance on the job. So they might have just made a bad decision, and poor choices and poor performance, it doesn't equate to racism just because the media tells you it does. Maybe that's just an action that happened and it was the wrong one. They made a wrong choice because, none of us are perfect. But, the left, just to promote this agenda and this propaganda machine that they got going on in the mainstream media, they'll always portray it that way. And it's evil. It's misleading. It ain't right. So what we need to do is take a step back, develop some logical thinking skills, develop your own opinions instead of just regurgitating what you've heard on CNN, and stop drinking this propaganda Kool-Aid and stringing along these made up examples to develop some sort of narrative or some woke agenda. How about you start living in the present, living in actual reality? Because we're only on this side of the grass one time. And if you live in this made up fairy tale world the entire time, it's just going to pass you by. Wake up. Look to God and allow him to guide your steps, not CNN or MSDNC or Fox, any of these people. Look to the Lord, look to the Bible, the basic instructions before leaving earth, and that'll get you right. That'll get you on the right foot. Romans 8 verse 18 says, "For I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is going to be revealed to us in heaven." When you've repented, confessed Christ as Lord, and you have that salvation, hopefully you go out and get baptized, wash that filth away, become born again, and start living a new life in light, not in the darkness. These people don't know what they don't know. But it's my job as a Christian to preach the good news, to share the gospel, to unveil the curtain like it was unveiled to me. Philippians 1 verse 6 says, "And I am sure of this, that he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus Christ." When we have to face that accountability, all of us, for our actions and our sins, on the day of reckoning, Jesus Christ is going to come rolling in on that white horse. And if you're not saved, it's going to be a hot one for you. But the good news is that you can change the script. You can flip it right now and start pursuing Jesus Christ. You can look to God. You can pursue heaven and get there by looking to Jesus. The way, the truth, the life. He will sculpt everything together, work it all together for the greater good for those that look and love him. But if you keep thinking that your way is the best way and that your yoke is easy and burden is light, it just don't work out that way. I'm telling you, wide is the gate, narrow is the way that leads to life. Wide is the path that leads to destruction, and many pursue that route. Many live in this world and of this world, and they're doing all these things to try to please man and please woman and acquire all these riches and fames and, talk about these issues that are going on, when at the end of the day, these aren't really issues at all. You need to focus on the main issue, and that's that if you don't have salvation, then you'd live in life all wrong. But what do y'all think? Am I being too lenient on this whole racism topic? Do you think it's an actual issue, or are my priorities aligned with the only thing that matters at the end of the day, and that's the gospel? y'all may not be saved, but I'm sorry for you, but you can change that at any given moment. He can change that at any given moment. He can direct all his attention and all his priorities and his focus on the gospel, and then he wouldn't be worried about, oh, this is bad, this is racist, I need to pay this some mind, I need to talk about this and promote this, and put all my energy and time into this racism issue. When if you were focused on just loving your neighbor as yourself and uplifting society, the world would be a whole lot better. Everything would be moving in the right direction towards eternal salvation and real peace and real unity and real love, instead of all this division and all this chaos. Division sells. That's why the media is always trying to pin us against each other and take sides. Don't buy into the hype. Don't go into this propaganda, left or right propaganda. Focus on looking up at the kingdom. That's where your eyes need to be fixed on, because it's all passing by. It's all falling by the wayside, and none of it can be taken with us. So get your eyes right, get your priorities right, love each other, and that's really the solution to everything. Love. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments section. Let's keep this conversation rolling. Don't forget to like this video by smashing the thumbs up button down below. Subscribe if you're not already. Ring the notification bell so you get notified anytime I post a video, just in case YouTube forgets to let you know. I appreciate you. I love y'all for doing so. If you want to take it a step further, you like what we're doing over here, you want to show a little extra love and support, by no means do you have to, but you can get awesome designs like this Godfidence, knowing I can't, but he can. These designs are made over my wife's Etsy store by her, customized in-house, all of that. Insulated tumblers, petite teat, small sizes to big and hefty for the 5X folks out there. All different sizes and colors. Like I said, we don't discriminate. We appreciate y'all. It goes a very long way in allowing me to continue to do what I do. All my other links are down below in the description section. Shout out to the Patreon, Buy Me a Coffee fam. Anybody who's ever joined the Gibson family on YouTube by hitting that little join button and becoming a member, I'm so grateful for y'all. I can't thank you enough and put into words and context just how appreciative I am for you guys showing up every single video and allowing my freckle face to rant at you. I just love y'all so much, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. I'll be praying for you. Until next time, Godspeed. I'm gone.